The focus tonight is likely on Trump winning the Iowa caucuses and the Republican candidates running for second place. And while voters and viewers are watching from home, we can imagine so too is the Biden campaign and national Democrats. Joining us now, Democratic National Committee Chairman Jaime Harrison. Mr. Harrison, thanks so much for joining us. According to our partners at 538, a national average of current polling shows President Biden losing to both Nikki Haley and Donald Trump and just barely beating Ron DeSantis. Right off the bat, is President Biden prepared to take on whomever ends up as a Republican nominee?
We're well prepared to take on whomever comes out of this Republican. You can call it a caucus, a primary, or a circus. It doesn't matter. I mean, listen, in the end of the day, today's battle was between Trump 1.0, Trump 2.0, and Trump 3.0. You know, in the end of the day, they all have a toxic MAGA agenda that wants to ban abortion, rip away health care, take away the right to vote, cutting taxes for the big, wealthy corporations and donors, and cutting Medicare and Social Security. But there's a lot of momentum building up on the Democratic side under the leadership of President Biden and Vice President Harris. Just today, we announced that the president and the party has 117 million cash on hand, and 97 million that we raised in the fourth quarter. And many of these donations, 97% of them were small dollar donations. And we added a third of those donors were new donors, but first-time donors donating to Joe Biden. So, you know, I know people like to take to bet a lot on these polls. But, you know, 538 said that we were going to have a red wave in the midterm, and we had a bunch of red tears. In the end of the day, the most important poll is what happens on Election Day. And I believe that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are going to win like they won in 2020.
But do humor me for a moment, because according to our partners at 538, we do want to rely on those polls for now. The president's favorability rating is at its lowest point ever, with just 39.9% of Americans having a favorable view of him, while a majority, 55%, have an unfavorable view. How do you overcome this in an election year?
Well, we overcame it in the midterms. We overcame it last November, and we'll do it again. And it's because Joe Biden has a record to run on. When you look up and you stack up all of the legislative achievements of this president, from the American Rescue Plan to the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law to the Inflation Reduction Act to the PACT Act to the CHIPS and Science Act, I mean, just one of those legislative achievements would have been the foundation for an administration for 4 years. But Joe Biden was able to do all of that. I forgot gun safety legislation, student loan debt relief. This president has accomplished more legislatively, probably against all administrations since LBJ. And LBJ had a Senate, over 60 senators and 300 members of the House. Joe Biden had a 50-50 Senate on a good day and a 5-seat majority, the same 5-seat majority that the Republicans had in the House, and they can't get anything done. So I know that we have the record to run on. The president, the vice president, and everybody's going across the country to make sure that the American people are aware of it. And in the end of the day, Joe Biden's going to win again.
By most measures, the U.S. economy is a strong one. Recession fears have evaporated. Unemployment rate is low. Gas prices have dropped, while wages in many sectors in the stock market have risen. But the economy remains the top issue for voters in Iowa, that and immigration pretty much. Barely a quarter of Americans, though, say the American dream still holds true. What does that say about the disconnect that we have here with the administration?
Well, I think it's more of a disconnect. We got a lot of, this was a very MAGA caucus. I mean, most of these folks said that, you know, if Donald Trump got convicted for a crime, they'd still support him. I mean, if we're going to be a nation of laws, then we need to stick with those laws, and those laws have to apply to everybody, not just a select few. And so in the end of the day, when this goes into the general election, and Joe Biden and Donald Trump are right there, and they are making that contrast, you got one president who wakes up each and every day thinking about how he can improve the life of all of Americans. And you got one president thinking about how can I get power again. Donald Trump just said just the other day that he wanted to be a dictator on day one. He said that, you know, it'd be okay if the U.S. economy cratered for the next few months. Again, this is a guy who believes that you can rip away health care from folks, that women shouldn't have the ability to control their own bodies. That is not where the American people are. Joe Biden is fighting for the freedom of all Americans. And that is going to be the contrast that we have going into November.
Only 13% of voters say that they feel better off financially since Biden has taken office, according to a new ABC News Ipsos poll. Safe to say they're not feeling the positive economy. Why do you feel that the Biden administration is not successful at achieving or being able to convince Americans that the economy is looking up?
Well, you know, a lot of the things that the president has been able to do is starting to kick in now. Take, for instance, the student loan forgiveness. I'm hearing from so many people. Just the other day, we were with the president and Mother Emanuel, and somebody came up to me and told me that they just got their letter from the president forgiving all of their student loans. That's a game changer. That is a life changer for many folks. Just a week or so ago, we are now seeing that insulin is capped at $35 a month for many of our seniors. That's going to be a game changer. Many folks pay hundreds of dollars a month to pay for insulin. All of that happened because of Joe Biden and Democrats. And more of the benefits of the Inflation Reduction Act, the American Rescue Plan, all of these things, these positive legislation passed by Democrats that a lot of Republicans are trying to take credit for, those things are now starting to percolate, and people are starting to see them and feel the impact. And so this is the right time for that to really ripen, right? Because we're going into that election season. So again, I have no doubt this president has an agenda. He's been passing that agenda. He has an agenda for the next 4 years. Remember, Donald Trump in 2020, the RNC didn't even pass a platform. All his agenda is about retribution against those folks who are against him, instead of thinking about how you improve the life of the American people. Bottom line, everyone wants to be seen, heard, and valued. Joe Biden does that. He fights for them every single day. Donald Trump fights for himself.
DNC Chair Jaime Harrison, we thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.